Hi all, how you doing? Basically, I've wanted to start documenting things that obviously I've been looking into and that. Um, as few people may know, I was a big part of a group called the Hunting One. We went out and caught paedophiles. We caught quite a few, done quite well, done really well in fact. We had a 100% conviction rate. There was only two people that CPS decided not to charge. Can't really go into obviously too much information on that because obviously I'll get nicked and arrested and that, as it is, the justice system the way it is, which is obviously what I'm going to start talking about a lot now. I think it's time to start exposing in a different way. I mean, going out and catching a paedophile is obviously a big thing for us, big thing for myself, and trying to obviously safeguard children, save children's lives. I mean, that's obviously the ultimate goal of all this. And I think children are very much literally just thrown into the fire. There's not enough people, and I think obviously as the more I dig into this, obviously this is like, I've been doing this for about 6 months now, a lot of research and everything, and obviously the more I dig, I find out more and more, and I will be publishing everything. I'll find out everything. Because I think it's just, it's disgusting, like, what's going on. Obviously I've come across a lot of stuff over the years dealing with the paedophile stuff and that, and it's beggars belief over 800 paedophiles just in the UK given new identities, like protecting paedophiles. I'm not really sure what the idea from the police would be from that. Well, I suppose I do because I've obviously got some points what I've looked up online, and obviously like the police from Merseyside and the H.O.P.E police, I think I said that right, I might have said it wrong, produced them, they're basically protecting them because of their human rights. Yeah, human rights. So the human rights of a paedophile, like we're not allowed to know who they are, whether they're living next door to us. I know you've got the freedom of right out where you can check to see if there's paedophiles live in your area, but obviously it's not all paedophiles that are going to be on that register. Obviously, like I just said, there's been over 800. I'm sure it's 1996. 2016. Obviously, 800 paedophiles were given new identities. So, obviously, they're given new identities. You don't know if they're living next door to you. So, obviously, the only ones that realistically you're allowed to see online is the ones that are obviously on the sex offenders register as it stands. And again, I think a lot of them are being protected in that, which is quite surreal. I listen to the Merseyside police and I think, you're protecting their human rights, okay, we can't go out and lynch them, supposedly not allowed to do that, because obviously that's breaking the law as well, but what about what they're doing to children? We've seen masses, especially within the group that I worked with in the Hunting One. I think that was a great group. The police did take it down. It's because of the police that team ended. Obviously we've tried a few times to go back out on the road once a lot of charges were dropped, but everything that we was bringing forward then would be discredited and thrown straight out of court, like purposely to stop us doing what we was doing, so we had to go away and rethink. So I took it upon myself. I just want to do this. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. Like I said, last 6 months I've been studying this. I've been studying it for the last 3 or 4 years, obviously when we were doing the paedophile hunting, but I think it's time to start getting facts and start really portraying the facts of all this, because it's disgusting. Just take, like, for instance, like Nottinghamshire police have helped 149 paedophiles. I'm looking down because I've written things down because obviously I can't remember this all off the top of my head. So going back to it, Nottingham police have helped like 149 paedophiles change their identity alone in Nottingham, just Nottinghamshire. Obviously, we was well known for catching a bloke up there called Ricky Slade who tragically took his life. It was tragic, he shouldn't have took his life. But at the end of the day, the BBC, the media, a lot of a lot of the questions we were getting is, do we feel responsible for Ricky Slade killing himself? No, I don't feel not one remorse of guilt for that man killing himself. For his family, we do obviously send out condolences to them, like, obviously, and we didn't. you know, we didn't catch this man for him to go and kill himself. You know, we catch this man to stop him from interfering with a child. You know, I mean, he was there to meet, I think it was an 11-year-old child, if I remember correctly. Um, you know, he had children of his own. I mean, it's scary, isn't it? It's beggars belief. Yeah, it's nuts. But you know, he was obviously killed himself. You know, and like I said, the news outlets and all that, all they was worried about, did we feel guilty? Did we feel responsible? No, I didn't feel guilty. No, I didn't feel responsible. You know, what this man done was his choice. You know, I'm going to sort of like reveal a few like hidden tricks that we played, not played, but the hidden tricks that we used during paedophile hunting. You know, we'd put a fake profile up of a child. Obviously, that child was potentially one of us, like talking all the time. There was no children ever involved. You know, no matter what rumours you hear, no matter whatever you hear, there was never ever a child involved in anything that we done. So yeah, so basically we'd put a profile up. You know, we'd talk to paedophiles. Like, it wasn't like we started talking to people. We always waited for someone to start talking to us. Obviously, you know, and then you would reveal to the person eventually, that, like I say, eventually, but quite quickly, how old you were. You know, you was just a child online, just doing your thing. You know, and there'd be different backstories. I don't want to get too much into it, because obviously people that are still doing it, I don't want to ruin their chance of catching people. But yeah, basically everything. I mean, if I had one of the chats, I'd be happy to show you. But obviously, I haven't got that to hand at the moment. But I will, on like another video, I'll make sure I'll go through a full chat of sort of how it works after the first couple of pages, because obviously then you'll realise, because it's the first 2 or 3 segments of our chats that are really important to us, because obviously that's what sort of, well, I probably will go over all of it actually, because obviously it's good to show the public just how crude these are, because I heard, you know, obviously I watch a lot about this sort of stuff, and obviously I watched one where Piers Morgan had a paedophile hunter on his TV. I mean, he was sitting there like having a go at this bloke. He said obviously he didn't disagree with what he was doing as such, but he didn't like the fact that we were taking law in our own hands and releasing the identity of these paedophiles before they was found guilty in court. Well, we had a 100% conviction rate in the hunting one, so let's be honest, every single person I put up there were guilty. Whether they got found guilty in court or not, they were guilty, because at the end of the day, I'm sitting there, and some of my colleagues at the time were sitting there. We were talking to these people, right? And like, bear in mind, when people say, "Oh, how do you know they're guilty?" Right? Let's put it to you like this, right? These people were talking to us over the course of not 1 or 2 days. You know, some of these chats went on for 9, 10 months, yeah. And these people were talking to us, trying to groom us from day one. Look, at the end of the day, as soon as, if I'm online and I started talking to a girl and she said to me she's 13, straight away I'd report her and tell her to get off the site, because at the end of the day, it's not safe for these kids online, all right? It's not. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what anyone's feelings are on it. The fact is, it's not safe for them. So yeah, like I'm saying, right, if they come online, I'm telling them, get off, you know. So the fact that these people are talking to them, engaging with these children for long periods of time, then talking sexually, and then start talking about what they want to do with a child, and then they come out and meet the child. You know, we're talking like, this is in processes, yeah, stages, segments. You know, first of all, they're just talking like they're your mate. Then they start playing some silly, like they do crude jokes, and then it goes on to suggesting certain things. Have you done this? Have you done that? They start asking about sexual contacts and things like that, and then they start suggesting that they touch themselves. And it goes on. It's a process, yeah. It's a process. Every chat's the same. I mean, I swear to God, if I showed you 100 chats, they're near on exactly the same in every chat that we do. It's a process that these paedophiles take to groom the child. You know, sometimes they do it a bit. Some of them try and work a lot quicker than others. Some of them play a very long game. Like I said, we've had chats that go like 9, 10 months. We've had chats that lasted only 4 weeks. You know, I think one of our shortest chats was like 4 or 5 weeks. So yeah, you know, obviously, it's, you know, you've got to understand, like, that these people are then arranging to meet this child, and then when we catch them, they are at the point where they've chosen to meet the child. Bear in mind, like, say for argument's sake, just on average we spoke to them for 3 months. So for the last 3 months they spoke to a child, they've talked all sexual to them. They told them they want to have sex with a child. They want to be sexually active with a child, and then they've turned up in a place that they've decided, not us. We then never ever instigated anything. They've decided where to meet the child, and then they're there. So they're guilty. You know, they are there to meet a child. You know, you've sent me the picture of yourself. You're now standing in exactly the same spot at exactly the same time. It's not a coincidence. You're there to meet a child. You're a paedophile. It's simple as that. Your intentions ain't there to go, oh, go home. We had that a couple of times with paedophiles. Oh, we're just going to have a go at them. No, you wasn't there to do that. You're a liar. They are blatantly liars. You know, you're there to meet a child, to do whatever, to rape that child, because at the end of the day, it's not have sex with a child, because the child can't give you that consent under 16 years old, which I think is a joke. I still think it should be 18. So, you know, it's rape. It is rape. It's child rape. You're a paedophile. That is simple as it gets. Yeah, sorry about that. Phone ring. Answer the phone call. Yeah, like I was saying, yeah, like child rape. It is child rape, you know, and it is as simple as it gets. You know, you're raping a child. Getting back to obviously what we was talking about, you know, with these 800 paedophiles and given new identities and that, and being protected by the state, by the police, by the government. I'll get into a little bit more deep into like the government interference with paedophiles and all that a little bit later on in this chat. Yeah, so like again, going back to the police forces and like what they're up to, you know, you've got the top police chiefs from three of the biggest forces in our country, being like the Met Police, the Greater Manchester Police, and the West Midlands Police. Yeah, you know, even these have gone on to say that, again, you know, paedophiles have got to be protected, got to be looked after, you know, for the safety of them. I get that. I get like that they're still human beings. But what about children, man? Come on. Like, when did a paedophile, like, who preys on a child's life and their human rights become more important than a child? You know, this is a question that, you know, I can't find this answer. I can't find the answer to it. You know, I had a long chat with the police constable, chief inspector, where was it? Maidstone Police Station, like a Kent Police, basically. Chief inspector of the Kent Police. I had a bit of a chat with him, and he was basically saying, you know, when we was on Good Morning Britain, and we'd done a segment on Good Morning Britain, and he come up and he was saying, you know, with the potential of us interfering in police cases. Obviously, I think it was in the end, it was about 60 odd cases we had. It was over 60 cases. I can't remember the exact number. And not one of them has ever interfered with a police case. You know, obviously we did talk to other paedophile groups that were obviously doing good things and on the right level and working hard to try and do the things they were doing. And again, all the paedophile hunting groups that we know of, and all the people all these different paedophile hunters groups have caught, none of which is there any definitive proof they interfered with any sort of old pending cases from other paedophiles. And now, I suppose if you look at it realistically, how is that possible? Because I mean, we caught quite a few repeat offenders as well. So, you know, we caught what was his name? I can't remember his name. One of the first stings I ever done. I will be able to find his name. Saint Scott, was it? Saint Scott. I'll soon tell you. It don't take me 2 seconds to find out the names. I know all their names. Yeah, I mean, I'll get that up while I'm talking to you still. But, you know, we had people, offenders, you know. I mean, these are all people that have been found guilty. So, it doesn't matter if I mention the names again. Because they've been found guilty in the court of law, and the act of freedom, the Freedom Act, obviously we can, you know, carry on exposing them, you know what I mean? Keith Holland, you know, he was a repeat offender. You know, Mark McKenna, he weren't a repeat offender, but, you know, what was his name? I'm trying to look. Got loads of them here. Yeah, Keith Holland, like I said, he was a repeat offender. Sorry, not very professional. going all quiet. James H.O.P.E was another repeat offender. Nick Mansfield, repeat offender. Richard Harding, another repeat offender. So that was just a couple of different names. Obviously, just looking at like a quick look back on some of the ones that we've caught and that. I mean, look, we've caught quite a few repeat offenders and all that. And Simon Lawson, he was another repeat offender. That's what I'm saying. I mean, we've caught so many repeat offenders. It's unbelievable. But again, so theoretically, what I'm getting at, all these repeat offenders should have been on police radars, right? But they wasn't. Why wasn't they? That's another question I asked the chief inspector. Couldn't answer me, obviously. It's not the point. You are going out there catching people, and you could be interfering with police cases. You could be doing this. You could be mislaying evidence. Okay, so why have we got 100% conviction rate? Didn't have an answer. Interfering with cases. We haven't interfered with them. No answer. Then he tells me we're not catching real paedophiles. I said, well, these people are there to meet a child to rape them. Why would they have arranged it, said they want to have sex with them, and then meet us at that point? So they're paedophiles. He didn't like it because obviously everything he said I did have an answer for. And obviously, like I said, where I've been studying a lot and I've been looking into different things and all that, you sort of come across different stories, going right back to 1980s. I mean, this is how long people have been trying to get paedophiles sort of ousted and try and get this sort of problem under control, because it's a massive issue. I mean, I was doing a study on this is on the NSPCC website. You can look this up yourselves. 1 in 4 children are groomed online, and out of 1 in 4, say 1 in 10 of them will be domestically abused. So what we're saying is 1 in 40. If you do the maths, 1 in 4 to 1 in 10. So 1 in 40 children that are groomed online are sexually assaulted. That's 1 in 40. Bear in mind, a lot of the classrooms nowadays have got about 35 children in there. So you're talking out of like 2 or 3 classes, 2 children. My children's school, like, they've got 3 classes of the same sort of age group. Do you know what I mean? So you're talking 90 kids. You're talking at least 2 of them will be groomed, are potentially going to be groomed online and sexually assaulted. And then obviously quite a few more of them are going to be groomed without being sexually assaulted. But and still in itself causes a lot of stress for families and the children themselves. You know what I mean? You don't have to always follow through with the rape for it to be damaging to these children. So like I said, I was looking back at just like the history of paedophilia, other people that have tried looking into this and all that, and I come across some really like interesting stuff. I mean, there's a geezer called Rob Logan, was a rehabilitation counsellor at Oregon State Hospital out in America, and he obviously found that in his research and what he done, I don't know the exact amount. It's the only thing I couldn't find, the exact amount of people he actually treated to try and help them rehabilitate, like, getting back into life and stop doing what they were doing. But he said like over 80% of them, all the people that just he worked with alone, we can't sort of say on a global scale because we just don't know the statistics for that. No one does. I mean, I've searched, but you can't get them statistics. But like just with the, I'm talking, he must have gone for a few hundred. The geezer worked in it for like 20, 30 years. So you're talking hundreds, maybe thousands of patients that he's had through. Even if we just say a round figure of 1,000 people, 80% of them, over 80% of them are going to reoffend. So if he treated 1,000, 800 of them reoffended in the end. That's a lot. That is such a high number. It's unbelievable how high number that is. And so anyway, then I looked into that more because I found that statistic quite revealing. So when I looked into it deeper and I looked into the government websites and all that, it's found that in England, in the UK, 71% of paedophiles convicted over a period of time, I think it was 20 years or whatever. Again, they don't give you the full details, they only give you bits and pieces of things. There was 71% was proven to reoffend. 71%. So again, you go back to like just rounding this off into like little figures. 1,000 paedophiles, all convicted, 710 of them reoffended. 710. So And like I said, and then if we go back to the 800 people that the police have, this is what I'm saying. I know this is a lot of statistics, there's a lot to take in, but I'm just trying to explain to you the scale of the problem we've got in our country and around the world. I'm just going by our country because obviously it's where I live, especially my local area. I want to protect kids. I mean, kids. I know kids can be little sods sometimes. I know we have them going around in gangs and all that, but it doesn't excuse the fact that they should be preyed upon and raped by adults. So if we go back to it, you've got 800 children, 800 paedophiles given new identities, right? And if we go back to the 71% definite was proven to reoffend rate, I mean, 71% of 800 is 568 people would have reoffended. So if you say out of them 800 people that got the new identities, there's a good hard potential that 568 of them could reoffend with their new identities, and they could be living next to a school. I mean, we caught one bloke who raped two people. One of them was a woman, which is really bad. Again, obviously, rape is rape, whatever. It's disgusting, whatever way you look at it. And one of them was a child. He was put away. I think he only done 5 out of a possible 12 years. I think he got sentenced to, and he only actually served 5, and then he was on remand in 5. And he was literally, you look out of his doorway. He was one we caught as well. He was online grooming a child. If you looked out of his doorway, went up 2 houses, there was a school, a primary school of children with a known rapist that they've allocated to live there. Obviously, when we found out more and more about him, that was the truth about him. Again, I can find out his name, because at the end of the day, I don't care. I'm going to expose these fuckers for as much as I can. Whether it's been a while since we caught them or not, they are, at large, dirty, horrible fuckers that it needs to be justified what's going on with this. But, we need to start deterring these people, man, because it's unbelievable. The statistics that I'm getting is unbelievable. The geezer I'm talking about literally lived opposite the school. Was let me get his name out. Brett, saying his name was. Give me 2 seconds. My phone's ringing again, but I'm going to ignore it. Trying to do the video. Brett Kaminsky, 43 from Hitchin. That was. Brett was given a new identity and moved to Hitchin. See, someone with a new identity, like I've just said. Out of them 800 people, new identity, 71% of them, 568. Look, it's all making sense, because this is proof in the pudding. I just didn't even realise. It's only because we put like little stories next to a lot of the people that we caught. So Brett was given a new identity, moved to Hitchin, originally from Chestnut, or wherever he is, Cheston. He raped 2 teenagers in 2007. Today he came to meet a 12-year-old child. Proof in the pudding. And that's just us going around doing what we do. Like the police said, we're not trained, we're not anything. We just do what we think we're doing is right. So like I said to you, the more and more I look into it, the more I start looking into why it's being covered up, what the reasons behind it are. Because I think this is what we need to concentrate on now. Yes, I love going out catching paedophiles, but I can't. We can't do it, because every time we do it now, if we put someone in front of a judge, they're just throwing it out of court. So it's not working. That's not working. The online paedophile hunting groups that are working out there still now, obviously they're finding they're not getting no coverage. A lot of their cases are getting thrown out now because the police just want to stop us doing it. Why, I don't know, because I think myself, we're just doing, I'm not saying all these groups worked in the right way. I'm not saying, we didn't make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. It's part of the. But rather than working with us and helping us, like, teach me. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to learn. Teach me the best way, your methods, your best methods. Do you think's better than what we done? We caught 60 odd paedophiles, got all 100% conviction except for 2. The CPS didn't even charge. That's a whole nother ball game. Both in higher class, which is again what I said to you earlier. I will get on to. But like, these are just other cases that I've looked back on, just random cases, just random. You can find millions of them, absolute millions upon millions of cases, or thousands upon thousands, whatever. Millions. There is millions of cases, right? Bone Grove, that included Douglas MacDonald. They was in a society where they raped children, killed children under the process of the Church of the Final Judgment. To do with churches and that. This is what I'm saying. People talk about the ones we were catching, just people praying online. Then we're looking at establishments now, like the church or whatever. The churches, the Catholic Church, the normal church. You've got the Islam, obviously you know, there's a big thing in Islam as well with paedophilia. There's a big thing in the Catholic Church with paedophilia. So let's not deter just to go, oh, Muslims this and Muslims that, or Christians this and Christians that. Look, this is a worldwide thing. It doesn't matter race, religion and all that. That I'm not bothered about. All I'm bothered about is giving you facts on this. And I think this is important. You've got to start looking beyond stupid, like picking up on stupid negative things like, oh, well, his religion tells him he can rape people. No, look, listen, what people do with their religion and how they follow it is down to that individual person. What I'm getting at is the people that actually do this shit and the people that are actually the establishments that this is actually going on in. So this facts. I'm giving facts, cold hard facts that can't be argued with, and anyone who tries to argue with me, I love it, because I'll prove you wrong every time. I'll show you facts on government websites. You know what I mean? So it's not like I'm making this shit up. This is stuff that I've seen myself and read myself off of government websites, yeah, English ones, American ones, Australian ones, you know, Russian ones. Not that it goes on that much in Russia because they're very fucking strict with that. Obviously, different things like this is what I'm saying. So obviously, getting back to this case, the Bowman Grove one, that involved like Douglas MacDonald. He was tried, he was sentenced, but during the trial there was a lady called Helena. I think I'm saying this right. Stokely testified that it was an initiation. The reason they done what they done, they killed a child, raped a child, and things like that. I think it might have just been killed a child in this thing. Was just the process of the church of the final judgment. So that was their final eliminator to get into this cult or whatever it is they was in. But they were found guilty. They were sentenced and that. And then there was another one, McMartin preschool, where they found that was to do with like the Catholics. I don't know if people remember this. I can't remember exactly where it was they found it. And that, again, I couldn't find that information. There's only certain bits of information you can find on the stories now. You know, you can't find all the information on all these stories, which I find very peculiar in itself. Yeah, but again, looking at the Martin preschool one, you know, they found 800 or over 800 kids' skeletons that they believed, obviously through medical testing, that were abused as well and killed. And that was to do with the Catholics. Again, I'm not picking on the Catholics. I'm not saying all Catholics are paedophiles. I'm not saying all Christians are paedophiles. I'm not saying all Muslims are paedophiles. No, I'm not. You know, you look at the Rotherham, Oxford, Birmingham, you know, there's been quite a lot of stuff going on lately in the media about just Muslim gangs raping kids. Okay, they've done that. They should be prosecuted. They should be treated the same as everybody else in this. Let's not just concentrate on just them. There's a bigger involvement. Yes, I see myself sometimes. I think about it and I think, yes, the way they do what they're doing with these blokes, they're giving them massive sentences. You know, they're getting long sentences for these paedophile gangs from Rotherham and all that. And it's great to see, like justice being served to them. But then obviously I look at this McMartin preschool one. Yeah, 800 children, not one person has been put to account for that. At least all these other ones, yes, I know they hid it for like the last 20 odd years, but at least some justification is coming out of it now. You know, at least people are getting charged, put on trial. I mean, you look at the McMartin, preschool, not one person. Amazing, isn't it? So, and then obviously when you're looking at certain things, it leads you on to other things. So I've looked into other bits and pieces, and I've found something, but like started to try and find any sort of inklings or stories about what goes on in the higher societies, people with a lot more wealth and that. Obviously, I know what goes on in our backgrounds, like people like myself's background, just working class people. We've seen ourselves. I think a lot of the paedophiles in our background are very much chancers. I think they go out, very rarely do you see them kidnap a child, rape them, kill them. I mean, obviously you've got a lot of cases where that's happened, but I'm saying a lot of them are more online now, where there's a lot of online influence and that now, obviously. So yeah, you've got a lot of online paedophiles now. But yeah, looking into this, I looked into one, and I looked into an American journalist called Ben Swan. Brilliant coverage. I mean, some of his videos I remember watching a few years back were fantastic on the Pizzagate. Again, the reason they called it Pizzagate is because they called it cheese pizza for kids that have been abused. I don't know why. I don't know why they use that terminology, but that's how the Pizzagate come about. The name Pizzagate come about, like the trial into Pizzagate. They called it like Pizzagate covered. And obviously a lot of it was covered by this man called Ben Swan. A lot of respect and admiration for this bloke. But then again, try and look for that now. I mean, you look for Pizzagate, Ben Swan, you get little bits up, more telling you what's happened and how he's just sort of faded from existence, sort of thing. Again, it's a massive cover up. Why? Why is it a massive cover up? Because he was finding things out that he shouldn't have found out. And I will get to that point. I'm gonna. This is my life pursuit. I am a dad. I work, but this is something that I feel so passionate about, and I feel needs to be pushed. And I don't care who I've got to push or how I've got to push. I will go and push this 110%, and I'm going to keep pushing until we get the results that I think our children need. Our generations, before next, the next 2, 3, 4 generations need to be protected from paedophilia, because it's getting bigger and bigger. So anyway, getting back to this, the Pizzagate with Ben Swan. Sorry, I did go off a little bit. You probably heard. Massive cover up. It's because he went near the truth, basically. All of his entire online accounts and most of his videos from the internet, I would say probably the whole lot have gone. I haven't really found any. You might get one where you might see him like glimpsing it. That's why I say most videos have gone of him. But you might get him where you might be speaking for a couple of seconds here and there, but you're not getting his full Pizzagate coverage of what he covered on that case, the Pizzagate case, obviously. So yeah, I mean, why was it covered up? Because he then started to see paedophile rings for what they were and who were running them, and obviously the people who he found in his reports to be running them were very wealthy, very high up. So you can see where we're going with this. And I think, working with a hunted one, I can't name names. I'm sorry. I'd love to be able to expose certain people for what they are, but if I do it, I'm going to be found guilty of whatever charges the police decide they want to put on me. Can't really remember off the top of my head. Yeah, I'm going to be found guilty of it. And yeah, basically we had some people that we had on our radar, we'll say, while being part of the hunted one, big names. Right? When I say big names, I'm talking about people who wouldn't know who these people are. They're public figures. And obviously, I think that's why we got shut down so quick, because obviously we was leading up to exposing certain things and certain people, and we got shut down. Again, with this Ben Swan, with the Pizzagate, he was there, he was going to expose people. It's been shut down. All his videos been taken down. I'm sure they'll do it to me eventually, because I will push the wrong buttons. And yeah, let's see how we go. But I am going to fight this 110%. I mean, anyone who knows me well enough, once I've got my teeth bedded into saying I want to go for it. I mean, this has been part of my life now for the last 4 years. And I think the more and more I look into things, the more and more I see what's going on with things, the more I think the worst thing they done was shutting us down, because it's made me even more determined to get to the bottom of things and like find the real hidden truths. And like I said, there is a lot of people, 650 MPs that we've got, where I would say, yeah, there's paedophiles in there. I can guarantee that, 100%, without saying no names, without saying anything else. I don't get myself in trouble, but there are paedophiles within the government, there are paedophiles within pop culture. There's proof in all what was going on with the Jimmy Savile, all them other people that have been exposed for what they were. It just shows you just how big this thing is. Maybe I won't make a change, maybe I won't even make a dent, but I will do everything I can in my power. Obviously, I've only got so many powers that we're allowed, but hopefully if we can, I'd like obviously people in the public to obviously back what I'm doing. Like obviously everything I'm doing is doing for children. I'd love to be able to see like a good public backing for it. Do you know what I mean? It's just like we need, like, it's a massive outcry for it. I know there's a lot of outcry for a lot of things that I need this outcries for, but I don't see like real big proper issues being dealt with. I mean, paedophilia is massive. Like I said, 1 in 40 children will be raped, online groomed and raped. 1 in 40 children. That's a statistic. Right. Anyway, I'm going to go. I've probably bored you long enough. Been on here for quite a while. But I will be back, hopefully within the next couple of days, with another video with more proof for things. But like I say, I've got a lot of stuff written down. I've just gone over a few things today. I know it took quite a while to go over them, but obviously I do ramble a bit. So yeah, I hope you like the video, and yeah, I'll see you soon.